After stepping down from his position as senior royal to start a new life in California with his narcissistic wife Meghan Markle, Harry left the country altogether 3 years ago. But a source spoke with New Idea magazine saying that now Harry is looking for a second home back in the UK. According to this source, in a surprising move, the Duke of Sussex is house hunting over in the UK because he wants his family to split their time between the UK and the US after he was asked to leave Frogmore Cottage earlier this year. But the source also says the decision is causing some tension between him and Meghan. Apparently, Meghan very much loves their life in the US. The source says there is a divide between the couple on this issue, but they will soon start looking for a property of their own near London, and Harry is very much leading this. They won't be asking the king for a property on the royal estate due to the issue that arose with Frogmore Cottage. Making use of a small apartment in Kensington Palace from time to time isn't out of the question, but when it comes to a home in the UK, they will purchase that themselves. Since Harry and Meghan started their feud with the royal family and moved to the US in 2020, the fake Duchess has only been back to the UK a couple of times, one of which was for the late Queen's funeral in September of last year. And according to royal expert Duncan Larcombe, it's not likely that Harry's going to come back to the UK on a regular basis without her in the future, just as he has for occasions in the past, like Prince Philip's funeral in April of 2021, as well as the unveiling of Princess Diana's statue 3 months later. Duncan says, "We've seen Harry come back on his own to the UK before, most recently for the anniversary of the Queen's death. Harry's got more reason to come back to the UK than Meghan, so I think we would see these trips, especially if he's involved with things like the Invictus Games, where most of the people who work for that are in London." It's unlikely that Meghan will want to spend much time in the UK, according to Duncan. He says, "She has shown no sign that she holds any kind of love for England. She's not given any hints that she would want to move back, even temporarily, to the UK. But I think it does make sense for Harry to have a UK base and for the couple to therefore have somewhere." In Duncan's opinion, one of the driving forces behind Harry's decision to move back home is his invisible children, Archie and Lilibet. He went on to say, if they don't have a base here, Harry's children are going to grow up not knowing their cousins, uncles, or aunts, or any of their family. They're growing up fast, and his father isn't getting any younger. I think he would want to do this before it's too late. I think the idea of that would be pretty tough on Harry. I think he'd want his children to have a relationship with their cousins, and in time, his father and William. The source also suspects that Harry and Meghan are beginning to think about where their kids could go to school, but says the jury's still out on that one. It is not yet decided where Archie and Lilibet will be educated. Harry is swinging more towards England, while Meghan is happy for them to be educated stateside. Last week, both Harry and Meghan talked about their worries for their children's future in the digital age on a visit to New York, where their Archwell Foundation held a summit in support of World Mental Health Day. While he was speaking at the event, Harry said, "As parents, my wife and I are concerned about the next generation growing up in a world where they are treated as digital experiments." And Meghan added her worries about her kids one day using social media. She said, "I feel fortunate that our children are at an age, again quite young, so this isn't in our immediate future. But I also feel frightened by how it's continuing to change, and this will be in front of us." Discussing their visit, Duncan said, Harry and Meghan looked every inch the power couple in New York and seemed to be very united and strong. They are clearly united in protecting their children in the difficult world they are growing up in. They both want the best for them. But in terms of them possibly having different opinions on how often they should visit the UK, Duncan claims there could be something else encouraging Harry to come back, as well as his kids having a better relationship with his family. It would bring him closer to his friends. Duncan says he must feel very isolated from the people he had great friendships with growing up. He had a small, tight-knit circle of friends he could trust, and in California, he's thousands of miles away from them. But at the same time, Duncan has to admit there is no easy solution to Meghan and Harry's ongoing problems with Prince William and his wife Catherine. There's no sign, unfortunately, of the rift healing between William and Harry and Meghan and Kate. But Harry will be acutely aware that his children are isolated from his family back home. Unfortunately, though, Meghan Markle is a gold digging attention seeker, and she's going to do anything to get her name in the headlines. That's what narcissists are famous for doing. And as for the statement that the most important thing in her life is her kids, well, that's another big fat whopper of a lie. She hasn't even been with those kids, if there are any, for weeks now. She never takes them to the park, never takes them out for a nice walk around the neighborhood. I mean, they are truly invisible. I mean, if the kids are real, clearly Megan is not interested in them in the slightest. And if the kids are real, it's a really sad situation for them because they need their parents' attention. And I know Harry did want children for years, and I can't fault him for that. My grandchildren are the light of my life. I cannot imagine a world without them. I do get the impression that Harry's like so many of us. I think he really does adore children. He probably loves being around them because they're so innocent, just so sweet. But not Meghan. Meghan does not like children. Her brother even once said that Meghan absolutely despises little kids. And judging by the accident that pitiful dog of hers had with the two broken legs, I suspect that she's not crazy about animals either. And I know many people are not going to believe this, but supposedly something happened around the time of the wedding where little Princess Charlotte was running around with her brother, and Meghan, that sneaky witch, decided to stick her foot out so that little Charlotte would trip and fall. And then she claimed it was an accident, of course. I mean, who could do such a thing to any little girl is beyond me, especially that one. The most important thing in her life, supposedly, is to be a mother. Well, she sat there and she lied in front of our faces. She's no mother. She hates kids. Anybody can see that by the faces she makes when she's expected to even talk to a small child. Even her brother said it's important to keep Megan far away from animals and children. He wouldn't have said a thing like that unless he had a good reason to. As usual, everything with Meghan is a big act, and I'm sure it's going to be leading up to some kind of personal catastrophe like that car chase scenario that happened in New York. We can expect another victim story to be coming our way soon about how terrible it is to be Meghan Markle. Well, I'm sure being a failed grifter is terrible. I wouldn't want to be Meghan. But I'm not going to believe any of these nonsensical stories about how Meghan wants to hurt herself. She just can't take it anymore. That woman's not going to do anything to harm herself because I don't think she's finished trying to ruin the lives of other people. And you, what do you think about this issue? Please tell me your opinion below in the comments. If you think my video is useful, don't be afraid to like and share it with anybody else who would enjoy it. And don't be afraid to subscribe to Kate Middleton and the Queen channel to get more updates in the future. Thank you so much for watching, have a lovely day, and I'll be back to see you in the next videos.